What's happening, my wonderful people? All praise be to the Most High God. The Most High God comes first. And the stream is brought to you by L.I.V.E products. L.I.V.E, live now. We're live now, available in the Trinidad and Tobago area. We have drinks, punches, and we also have cleaning products as well as snacks. You can contact for more information 319-4788. 319-4788. You can WhatsApp it or call. We're going to talk about how Restore the Snyderverse looks more and more attractive because this latest movie in the slate of flops that Warner Bros. Has been putting out concerning DC movies shows us that the interest is not in these type of films, but in the Snyderverse. And no matter how much, I would say this, matter how much money they pump into this stuff, no matter how many campaigns Warner Brothers has run, and how many trades, and I wish they'd take that same energy and have done that same thing for the Snyderverse, particularly Zack Snyder's Justice League after it came out. I wish they had done that. But they didn't do that for that movie. They didn't even allow it to see theaters, Zack Snyder's Justice League. Right now, they're stalling Matt Reeves' The Batman movie because they want James Gunn's universe to work out. And they have been just tone deaf to what their paying audience wants to see. So they have gotten what they've gotten. We're going to look at certain factors that show just how much Man of Steel outperformed Superman and how the Snyderverse began with a bang and would have continued to produce hits. Aquaman was just a beneficiary of what the Snyderverse would have been, because all of these movies that we're watching, a lot of people are not considering this factor. WB constantly leaves $500 to $700 million on the table. And I'm going to show you evidence of this. First of all, shout out to Tyron Magnus and several other people on Twitter who actually mentioned this. Cosmic Book News says James Gunn's Superman lost over half the audience of Zack Snyder's films. So 50% of the audience that came to see Zack Snyder's films, James Gunn's Superman hasn't captured them. And this article is going to go now and show you and prove to you how this is so. James Gunn's Superman has now passed Batman v Superman at the domestic box office, earning $331 million. Well, it's past that now. Let me just show you what it looks like right now in real time. It is now, its domestic is $333 million, close to $334 million. Okay. International box office is $249 million. In other words, from the last time I streamed and I told y'all it was about $248 million, it has only moved by $1 million. In fact, not even quite $1 million. It's a 249. So it's pretty much plateaued internationally. It's not going to really go any further internationally. It's reached its end. Domestically, it still has a couple more millions to garner, but it's coming to the end of its run. And I just want to shout out to Angry Joe, even though I don't agree with a lot of things Angry Joe said. Angry Joe said that this movie would end at somewhere around $585 million. And I think he's kind of right. Now, I don't know if it'll make 590 something million, but I'm pretty confident it's not going to make 600 million this weekend. That much I do know. I may be wrong, but I believe this is where it's going to be this weekend. That'll be the 6th weekend. That means it'll be 4 weekends in the box office, and it's been in the 500s, but it's because it's slowing down, of course. Anywho, the point I'm making is its domestic is 333 million. 330, well, it's going to reach 334 million, I do believe. Internationally, though, this is an abysmal number. And you have to understand something. This movie had a budget similar to the budget of The Flash. So no matter how much people will say, "Oh, WB's right, it's 225 million," it wasn't 225 million. Let's make that abundantly clear. It's closer to 300 million. I wouldn't be surprised it's over 300 million. The Hollywood Reporter was saying it's about 350 million or over that it cost the studio because of reshoots. Okay? So let's go back to the article. So James Gunn's Superman has now passed Batman v Superman at the domestic box office, earning 331 million compared to BVS's 330 million. That headline made rounds over the weekend, with some outlets calling it the highest grossing Superman film ever domestically. Okay. But as several movie watchers pointed out on X, the number hides the reality. Higher ticket prices are doing a lot of the work. In terms of actual tickets sold, Superman is far behind its predecessors. Worth pointing out is that the shills that run the DC Cinematic sub on Reddit have locked the post and aren't allowing fans to comment. We've put up the post in our own Reddit that isn't censored. The Superman digital release has moved up early, only 35 days after release. Grok breaks down the numbers. On the thread on X, user Ben W noted that in 2016, Batman v Superman sold an estimated 159 million tickets worldwide. That's crazy. That's a crazy number. By comparison, Superman has sold only 67 million. That's roughly 47% of BVS's audience. Grok X built-in AI confirms the math. BVS, 874 million worldwide, 146 to 159 tickets sold. Average ticket price at the time was $5.50, adjusted to $6. Superman in 2025 had 579 million worldwide, 64 to 67 million tickets sold. Average price $8.64 to $9. Now, I don't know where they're getting the average ticket price being that, but whatever. Those numbers are kind of lower. That's a 43 to 46% audience drop. Man of Steel comparison. User Alexio1 asked Grok to run the same comparison against Zack Snyder's Man of Steel. Zack Snyder's Man of Steel made 668 million worldwide. This is Grok. It's 670, but Grok says 668. Okay, whatever. It sold 112 to 122 tickets sold at the average price of $5.5 to $6 adjusted for inflation. Superman 2025 sold again 64 to 67 tickets sold. That's only 52 to 60% of Man of Steel's audience. What the numbers really show, as I pointed in the post, inflation-adjusted ticket sales reveal that far fewer people are actually watching Gunn's reboot. James Gunn rebooted DC with cheaper talent. Scoop confirmed. While the dollar totals might edge past Superman films domestically, the audience size is down 55 to 60% from BVS and around 40 to 48% from Man of Steel. Also, in today's dollars, Gunn's Superman can't compete, as Man of Steel nearly brought in $1 billion and Batman v Superman over 1.175 billion. Gunn's Superman hasn't even reached 600 million and won't match Man of Steel's 670 box office without accounting for inflation, let alone BVS's $874.3 million. While Grok concluded superhero fatigue seems real, DC needs a reboot spark. James Gunn has argued the problem isn't fatigue, but bad movies. I think he's right. He's right on that. About the author, Malcolm McGloin. Malcolm McGloin created, designed, and launched Comic Book News in 2008, an independent website covers entertainment news, including movies, comics, TV, video games, and more. Matt helped Marvel Comics promote Guardians of the Galaxy and Nova, and has expanded into movies, TV, and more. Matt's scoops include the biggest of them all when he released the Avengers Endgame title before Infinity War. Recently saw Matt say Marvel is retooling Daredevil Born Again, which is confirmed exactly as he said months later by the trades. Okay. So, facts over fiction. The facts are that you put Snyder fans into that picture. Right now, this movie's at what? 580. What is it? 580. Let me see. Hold on a sec. Let me slide up a little bit. There you go. So, according to this movie, is 583 million. Now you throw. I'm gonna show you something. You throw 500 to 700 million on that total, and if this movie, if let me show you how powerful restoring the Snyderverse is and why it's so attractive. Some Snyder fans, probably who are gun fans, watch this movie, right? Now think about this. This movie sits at 333 million, right? Okay, domestic. Okay. Imagine throwing 500 million on top of whatever this movie has grossed. 583 million. This movie becomes $1 billion movie. I have argued time and time again that Snyder fans and DC audiences that like serious movies account for 500 to 700 million dollars in box office revenue. So think about that. And think about how attractive the Snyderverse really is. I'll show you something else. I'm going to start showing you some things. Okay. Now, Joker was a movie that appealed to many different fans. This is not just Snyder fans. But what I want to show you is that there's a portion of the DC audience who are not necessarily Snyder fans. They may be, but they are more interested in having serious tone movies. They like a certain aesthetic for DC. They like proper filmmaking, proper cinematography. And I'm going to show you how much they contributed to box office, right? So Joker made over $1 billion. It made $1 billion and 78 cents. It didn't matter what the critics said. It didn't matter what rating they got. This movie made money. It also won Academy Awards, but that's besides the point. Now, what's important about this is this. And to get to my calculator here. So $1,079,000,000 is what Joker made. I want to show you something, because I like showing people things. Joker Folie à Deux made $207.5 million. Basically $208 million, right? So $871 million accounts for a particular audience that went to see Joker, that did not go back to see Joker. And I am part of that audience. I didn't understand why we needed a sequel. Then I saw it was kind of like a love story. Didn't make no sense to me. I didn't go see it, right? $871 million. And The audience that went to see Joker, when they went to see Joker Folie à Deux, they were disappointed, right? It ended up being bad word of mouth, etc. $871 million worth of audience. They wanted to go see a serious DC film, but did not think it made sense to go see Joker Folie à Deux. Okay, I'll show you something else. This is why I said the Snyderverse is very attractive at this time. Because with all their machinery, with all of their assets and all the tricks up their sleeve that Warner Brothers had, all the stuff that they did last year with Barbie, it backfired this year. The strategy, the game plan to tie, Superman to Fantastic Four, first steps, it didn't work. It backfired on them. They didn't make the $1 billion that they were looking for with the movie. That's what they were looking for. You have to understand that. And they poured all their resources into it, and it failed. Because you're dealing with DC. You're dealing with a particular audience. You're dealing with a particular demographic. They tried to target children and all that. Didn't work. The dog didn't work. Okay. Let's look at a DC film from the DCEU. So I'll say DCEU movies. Okay, they don't have that. Okay, just put DC movies in the listing. I'll get it. All right. Let's just put DC. Let's see if I get that. There we go. All right, good. Wow. Okay. That didn't work either. All right. I was trying to get a list. Okay, I know what I'm going to do. So I want to go through them one after the other, There you go. Good. Now, the fun part about this is that even though I'm only seeing domestic numbers right now, I really want to shoot worldwide numbers. I don't just want domestic numbers. So this is not exactly what I want, but it doesn't matter. It'll work out because once I click on it, okay? All right. We're going to compare Wonder Woman Okay, what I'm going to do, see if I can do that. Let me see if I can do it first. Can I open this in a new tab? Yes, I can. Okay, good. All right. Okay. Okay, good. All right, let's look at Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman made 823 million roughly, right? Let's type that in. Okay. 823 million worldwide. Okay. Okay. Now, the sequel to Wonder Woman is Wonder Woman 84. Wonder Woman 84 made 169 million, basically 170 million, right? Okay. So the difference between Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman 1984 was a difference in box office of $653 million. Right? Okay. Let's go back. Wonderful. Let's go back. Okay. So we just did Wonder Woman. See, the cool thing about this is we can actually take some of these really high grossing films and they have sequels. So we can always look at the sequels. Now we know there were some tonal changes and conditions under which certain movies were supported. Take, for instance, Aquaman. Right? Aquaman. Interesting. Okay, hold on a second. Let me go back. All right. So we got Aquaman. Okay. Uh-huh. Oh, okay. And we also have Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Right? That was the sequel. Aquaman grossed $1.15 billion. Let's type that in to a calculation. Calculator. 1.152 billion dollars, right? Okay. And Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, it made $440 million, right? So the difference between Aquaman, which was supported by Snyder fans, most of them, not me, but most of them did, because Jason Momoa was talking about releasing the Snyder Cut, and then Aquaman somehow had to continue teaching the Snyder Cut. He was lying, but they say what? They supported. And so you had $712 million. Remember, $653 million for Wonder Woman, $712 million supported by a DC audience and Snyder fans who threw their money for Aquaman. And it crossed $1 billion. Follow me on this. Are you guys following me? I hope you are. Can I go back? All right. The other sequel, or sequel-ish sequel, and that's, we have the benefit of this in the DCEU, you know, is Suicide Squad. All right? Suicide Squad. Oh, okay. Suicide Squad's sequel, or sort of sequel, was The Suicide Squad, which was a kind of a reboot on the Suicide Squad. Some of the members of the Suicide Squad came back, and James Gunn killed them off, but all right. Okay. Suicide Squad grossed $749 million. And The Suicide Squad, it earned $169 million. A difference of $580 million. Can you see? This is not by chance that this is happening, right? You see that the numbers I've called, from Wonder Woman, which is $653 million, Joker, which was $814 million, Aquaman, which was 700 and I think 700 and something million, right? 715 million or something like that. And now Suicide Squad, which is 580 million. Where is all that money coming from? Who are the people that are not going to see these movies and pay their money to see these movies to the extent of between 500 and 800 million dollars? Who are these people? And that's what the studio should have been doing their homework with instead of making excuses. Because as Cosmic News so correctly said, there is a tremendous portion of audience that is not going to see these movies. And their purchasing power is between 500 million and 800 million. I said it was between 500 and 700 million to be conservative, but it's between 500 and 800 million we're talking about here. And even in the case of Joker, which should not have had a sequel, you see these consistent figures showing you that there is a demographic out there that goes to see good movies. The first movie, Joker, they went to see it. The second movie, Joker Part 2, they didn't go see it. The first Wonder Woman, they went and saw it. The second Wonder Woman, they did not go and see it. The first Aquaman, they came and they went and saw it. The second Aquaman, they did not go out and see it. The first Suicide Squad, they went out and saw it. The second Suicide Squad, they didn't go out and see it. It's consistent. It's been happening. It's been shown the demographics are there. Do we need to go by country? Do we need to go by country to see who are the people that support these movies initially? And then, because clearly worldwide box office is affected by international box office. And clearly the international box office was not present for Superman. It wasn't. 200 and what was it? 200 and what is it? 249 million? That's terrible. That's not. If that was domestic numbers, that's called a domestic flop. Because if it can't be compensated by something in excess of 400 to 500 million dollars to compensate for it, domestically it flopped. You just have to flip the numbers around and you will see. The reason this movie is at only $583 million, $584 million is because internationally it didn't perform. Right? And now Cosmic News is able to show us that it barely makes half the amount of ticket sales that two Snyderverse movies did. Telling you, and if you look at the value of these ticket sales, if you monetize, you check the value of these ticket sales, you will find that they're double, which means whatever audience went to see Superman, you have to add double that. And guess what double that looks like? Double the value of whatever Superman has. So if Superman, hold on a second. Let me. There we go. So let's look at Superman somewhere here. There's that's oh, they don't have it here, but so I want to show you the power of the Snyder fandom. But besides the Snyder fandom, there's also mixed into that a audience, a general audience that goes to see films of a certain kind of film, and they're interested in a certain kind of film, and that's just the DC audience. And nothing you do will encourage the Marvel audience, the MCU audience to go watch DC in bulk. They're not going to do that. Yes. Currently, Superman stands at 585 million. Okay, 585 million, which is what Angry Joe said it would kind of end up being. It might make a little bit more than that. Who knows? It might make it to 600 million. I don't know for this weekend. We will see. I don't know. But what I am saying anyway is this, and this is the important point. You double that, and you get what this demographic that's missing would give this movie. This is what Warner Bros. Is not understanding. They could make billion-dollar movies. And clearly, 585 million is made up of a certain demographic, but clearly James Gunn has divided the fandom. DC's not united right now. So all of these different reasons are the reason why this gross is so low. And clearly, it's also showing that the majority of people that went to see Zack Snyder's movie, some of them went and saw James Gunn's Superman. Most of them didn't, which is why it's so low. Domestically, it's high, but internationally, it's low. And the point is, because there's a missing demographic that DC and Warner Brothers are not reaching. These are simple facts. You just crunch the numbers. Numbers don't lie. People do. And no matter how much money you pump into something, if you do not reach the demographics that you need to reach to make that thing good and prosperous, you just won't. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter how much spin you make. You're not going to trick anybody because people go to movies they're interested in. People go to movies that they like. That's the taste. And it's just, they don't understand it. Warner Bros. Will never understand this. The demographic that they are sharing the movies with have a certain taste. You can go to Grok, you can go to any one of those AI tools, and it explains it. It lays you out for how could a studio be this stupid? They have this demographics already. They have their demographics of the people who go watch their movies. Why are you going to look outside your demographics for new demographics? Because you want to force a DC Marvel crossover. I mean, how intelligent is that? Somebody help me understand. You will never get Marvel fans. You will never get them. They're Marvel fans. Unless they like Marvel and DC. Unless they like Marvel and DC, they're not going to go watch a DC film. They're just not going to do it. That's not their thing. Why is it that studios try to force people to do things they're not comfortable with? They don't want to do it. People don't want to go see a movie as a DC film that has a lot of laughs and jokes and the characters don't take themselves serious. It's not DC. Why do you not understand that? Why do you not understand? There are certain characters that lend themselves to that, like Shazam, like a Plastic Man, etc. There are many different takes on them. So these are humorous characters to some degree. You will get some humor out of them. But as to, films, DC films where humor is the norm and it's so corny with these corny, cheesy jokes and stuff. That's not DC. That's not DC. That's just not it. It's just what it is. You look at the DC animated series. They're not funny. There's not these punchline jokes throughout it. I don't know why you think that Superman 1978 is funny. It's not funny. It never was funny. It's more magical than funny. And even then, it worked for its time. It doesn't work for all time. We don't live in that era anymore. We don't live in that world anymore. And especially in the economy that the world is in, particularly the people outside of the United States, and increasingly people in the United States as well, people don't have money to throw around, man. People don't have money to just go watch movies. Doesn't matter if they're good, bad, or ugly. No, they want something that they can be entertained with and enjoy. They're not going to go watch a movie when they see the trailers of it, and they're like, "This, I don't want to see this." Okay, because you advertise the movie, right? You show people what they're in to expect, right? What they're supposed to expect. And if your advertisements turn them away, then they're not going to go see it. It's just simple. So I don't understand why the studio felt it needed to force people's hands to conform to something that their executives like. See, Warner Brothers and the industry feel they know what's best for people, even in spite of the evidence, the incredible amount of evidence that is mounted against them concerning their demographic. They still stubbornly try to force that demographic and other demographics, if they can attract them, to watch these movies. And they create these stupid narratives like, there's not fans, DC fans, they're a minority. They're not a lot of people. So if that's the case, that DC fans are a minority for DC movies, why the hell do you have Comic-Cons? Huh? Why do you have Comic-Cons? People from all over the world go to see Comic-Cons. Hundreds of thousands of people go to see Comic-Cons. Why are you having them? If it's just a minority of people that go to see and explore comics, you don't make any sense. Hall H is known as, it's a humongous hall in San Diego. They go there because people are fanatical about comic books and comic book movies. That's why they're called fans. You know, what's one of the dumbest things I cannot understand? Fans are asking for the Snyderverse to be restored, right? Fans, that's what they do. You have fans. And then there are other fans and the industry and professionals in the industry telling these fans, no, that's an evil thing to do. No, you cannot have the Snyderverse restored. No, you are weirdo for asking for that. No, you are a cult for asking for that. All kinds of crazy, ridiculous, negative labels put on fans requesting something they like. They're fans. That's what they do. Fans ask for things. We have the Alita sequel fans. They've asked for the sequel to Alita. We have the Acme and Company fans. They asked for the Acme Company fan movie to be shown. We have the Batman fans. We have Henry Cavill fans. That's what fans do. Why all of a sudden you have to demonize people when you know from all the facts and statistics, from the absolute destruction of Twitter by fans demanding and asking in 2021 for the Snyderverse to be restored, equal and even surpassing the request to release the Snyder Cut, which would make history in Hollywood. And you are looking at these fans, and instead of saying to them, well, you're fans, we don't know, we'll keep it open. We don't. Just work with us. We're going in this direction right now. But who knows? Your demand is heard. No, they say, no, that's never going to happen. We're shutting this down. Can't have it. Never will have it. And the industry keeps on doubling down, and they say what they say. And we know that they're hiring people to do this. And it's almost like they want to shadow ban you on social media for saying, restore the Snyderverse. They've tried every single thing. They bought over fans inside the fandom to say, sell Snyderverse to Netflix instead of restore the Snyderverse, and to attack Snyder fans who've been saying, restore the Snyderverse, which is not limited to Warner Brothers. It's not limited to anything. It's just a broad request, okay, in which it possibly could entail selling the Snyderverse to Netflix, okay? It's possible. Why are you attacking fans for using the hashtag restore the Snyderverse? It makes no sense. Why are you trying to demonize fans? Fans are the people who bring money to you. They're your customers. You keep them happy and satisfied, and they will keep on asking things of you. And you have a dialogue between them. Because when you treat fans, I don't care who they are, I don't care if they're toxic or whatever you think they are. Because a lot of times when you say these fans are toxic, they're passionate, but they're not going to harm anyone. They're not going to kill anyone. I've seen toxicity from gun fans. I've seen toxicity from Star Wars fans. I've seen toxicity from Snyder fans. I've seen any fandom you have, there's going to be some toxicity, okay? But who are you as a studio to villainize fans who are going to give you their money? Why would I give you money for something if you're demonizing me? I'm not going to give you any, I don't want nothing to do with you. It just makes sense. I am a business person. I'm not going to go out there and demonize my customers who are either coming to me or they're not coming to me, or they changed and they decided to go to somebody. I'm not going to do that. That's stupid. The customer is always right. That's stupid. So people who have no business savvy, but are executives in companies only grabbing money and stealing money to benefit themselves through failing upwards, are angry that they can't rape the system and be like gods in the system, and so they rail against the fans. I remember in a couple of years ago, in 2021, there was this article put out in the trades and circulated saying that studios can't give the fans what they want because we cannot have the fans in control of studios telling them what to do. Well, let's revise that, shall we? Kevin Feige gave the fans what they wanted. Avengers Endgame. Avengers Infinity War. How did those movies do again? Yeah, they broke $1 billion. Deadpool was requested by fans, and Ryan Reynolds was able to give the fans Deadpool in unlimited measure like Deadpool really is. Deadpool and the Wolverine recently last year broke $1 billion. In fact, it made $1.5 billion. What do these studios say again about fans and not listening to fans and not giving the fans what they want and not doing what the fans ask them? I mean, I don't understand why you are so tone deaf and power hungry to the expense of your company. Don't you want your company to make money? Warner Brothers stock stands right now between $10 a share. It fell from $30 a share and $40 a share. It used to be. No surprise there, right? They're selling off stock all the time. They're selling off different products that they have or different services that they have. And recently they fired 10% of their workforce after Superman has not performed like they wanted it to. Right? Now, my question to them is this. Are you willing to commit suicide because you want to continue down a line that's worse than the original line that you started with Man of Steel? Because you can't even make your movie profitable to start with. You can't even make your movie break even, right? The first movie that starts this universe is going to be a flop. It's going to be a better flop than the other flops that came before, but you did nothing different. You listened to no one. Resoundingly, the general audience and the fans, the DC fans, and not just Snyder fans, DC fans, I'm not even talking about Snyder fans, DC fans told you what they wanted, right? Some of the fans said restore the Snyderverse. Some of the fans said we want a Superman movie, a solo Superman movie, right? And they expected Henry Cavill to be there, but okay, he's gone. But not only did you not do a solo Superman film, not only did you not listen to the fans when they told you, okay, listen, we want a solo Superman film because we want Superman. We want to see Superman. In addition to that, we would like the Snyderverse restored. We would like Zack Snyder to complete the movie that he had, because everybody who's seen Zack Snyder's Justice League knows it ends on a cliffhanger. It ends on a cliffhanger. Which means Zack Snyder expects to continue that story and finish it. Now, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this very honestly. This studio, Warner Brothers Discovery, has made a lot of grave mistakes in its past. They've made a lot of grave mistakes. And that is what it is. Life goes on. But now, if they choose to double down on this mistake that they have made, I am very, very certain that this company will be bought over by another company yet again, and it will be a different management of the company. I see Paramount now going back to Michael Bay to do Transformers. They're asking him to come back and revive that franchise. By the way, Paramount has been reshuffled, it has been rebought, it has been reconfigured. Paramount was also in a sort of precipitous situation, and they're trying to court Michael Bay back to do the Transformers series. You saw that with Jurassic World Rebirth, the companies courted back the original Jurassic World director, and Jurassic World Rebirth, while it will not make $1 billion, has already made over $800 million and has already made the company profit. Okay? My point being, if you pay attention, a lot of these studios are realizing we messed up, and they're going back to the original people who brought them success. You can say what you like about Zack Snyder. The one thing I can tell you is, he gonna make your movie make profit. He made profit for Netflix. He's made profit for Warner Brothers. And he has made profit for Universal. So if you cannot understand the sign, and by the way, Zack Snyder ain't waiting on nobody. Hand and foot. He's not gonna wait on the studio. He knows what he wants to do. He knows he wants to finish those movies. But he's busy doing an MMA movie, looks like a detective sort of movie for Netflix. And he still has a whole ton of other things or projects that he's working on. Right? So he's not going to sit down and wait on no company. Doesn't mean he moved on, but he's not going to wait. He ended the story on a cliffhanger. Obviously, he wants to continue that story. And he knows that there are still out there fans who want to see that story continued. Substantial amount of fans. Now, you say what you want about Wallets Close movement. You can say what you want. But in a way, that movement was quite effective, even though it was not necessary, in my opinion, because, again, people go to see things they're interested in. Right? And I don't see how people like myself, seeing myself as a part of a demographic that likes certain kinds of movies, would ever go and see Superman or even the Suicide Squad that James Gunn did. Because the trailers discouraged us from seeing anything like that. Okay? So, I'm telling you, not asking you, there's a tremendous demographic and just a little group of people on Twitter who talk and are expressive. Yes, they're not a great majority of people on Twitter. It's a certain community. It's big, but the people who put out stuff most of the time that do that, this is a small amount of people, right? But they are a voice for a very huge amount of people globally. They're reflective of that. And if you go on all over social media, don't just go on Twitter. You go all over social media. I know because I am a manager of several groups on Facebook where I see how huge a fandom people are of Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman's a big, there's a huge fan base for Wonder Woman. It's just ridiculous. And a lot of people like Gal. But unfortunately for Gal is a Zionist, and she has not been repentant in any way, shape, or form, never shown empathy for the Palestinian people. And the genocide that's going on, she's still supportive of the IDF, and she plays victim card. So I'm not interested in seeing Gal as Wonder Woman anytime soon. Unless she recants and changes her way in some way, shape, or form, and makes compensation for all the evil that she is propagating and lies. But having said that, Wonder Woman is a very popular character. And I have a huge Wonder Woman group, in which a lot of people are. And then we have the Snyderverse stuff, and that's also very huge on Facebook. And there are several groups that are like that. And you have the DC fans, that's another big, huge group. So I know how big this fandom is. Whether you're talking about the Snyderverse fandom, whether you're talking about the DC fandom, it's huge. Don't let anyone fool you. Marvel may have been the taste of the day, so you have a lot more people knowing about Marvel, but DC is huge. The problem is that the DC audience, the DC fans, are not getting the movies that they want to see or are interested in seeing. They may not want, it may be that this movie is something that they never wanted, they never asked for, but it's interesting, and they're interested in it. Okay? So I have to scroll all the way back down, but it's okay. I'm going to do that. Now you see Free Palestine also on my stream, so I will talk about Free Palestine in a minute. Oh, there's a bunch of you there. All right, shout out to all of you that are watching my stream. When we think of Free Palestine and what the atrocities that are happening, it's the same thing. The majority of people do not like what Israel and his regime is doing to the Palestinians, has done to Iran, has done to Libya, has done to Syria, has done to Lebanon, even threatening Egypt and Jordan. People know now. It's obvious what's happening. Okay, it's a lot to go through here. Okay, I'm gonna stop somewhere around here. All right, let me just do the Snyderverse stuff first, okay? So here You see Just Ralphie saying hope, and he has the Palestinian flag, a sort of an S on the back of Superman. And Nick says, don't you feel scummy inside when you attach real life tragedies to corporate sponsored products just to delude yourself into believing you're actually making a difference and pat yourself on the back? And I need to say this. People don't know David Cornstead is a Jew, and he's also a Zionist. And so it would be interesting to ask him if he supports the genocide that's going on in Gaza right now. Because in the movie, that little boy that raised the Superman flag wasn't saved by Superman. He was saved by the Justice Gang. I'm just saying. Right? So you have a Zionist, and he is a Zionist. You have a Zionist leading as a Superman. This is what James Gunn picked. He picked a Zionist. Okay? I'm just saying. I know Zack Snyder also picked a Zionist for Wonder Woman. But now I'm not backing that Zionist. And why? Well, why would I back another Zionist in James Gunn's David Cornsweat when, in fact, the other part that bothers me is that not only is he backing the Zionists, but this Zionist didn't help the people who you're waving a Palestinian flag at. He didn't help them. Somebody else. Supposedly these people are the Palestinians. That's another thing. We're supposing that. We don't know the history. You know. We're supposing. We don't know the context, and the movie doesn't delve into that. I'm just saying. On that note, fuck Netanyahu, fuck Donald Trump, fuck Keir Starmer, fuck Zelensky, fuck Gallant, fuck Biden, fuck Kamala, fuck Gavir, fuck Milai. Who else am I missing? And yes, I agree with Adam. Aaron Flesher, in my review, selling the least amount of tickets. It's the least popular Superman ever on film. That's kind of being exaggerating. I mean, while he's correct in the sense that, okay, Christopher Reeve was more popular because of Richard Donner. Richard Donner and in his first Superman film, even the second one, even though he's booted, Richard Donner made Christopher Reeve popular, right? The first Superman film, Superman 1978, in today's dollars would have made $1.4 billion. That would be the equivalent. All right, it's murdered. Next, in terms of Superman films, would be Batman v Superman, which would have made $1.1 billion. The next would be Man of Steel at $920-something million. So, telling me that Superman outgrows Batman v Superman at the domestic box office, we couldn't give a fuck. Whether it's adjusted for inflation or not. We couldn't care less. We care about the overall gross. I even heard Tyra Magnus saying the same thing. I don't know why you're fixated on the domestic numbers. That's cool. You get a higher percentage on the domestic numbers. But overall, you want to get, you want to get the all-around worldwide gross because you need to have international numbers that can, match the domestic numbers. And since the international box office is much wider and vaster than the domestic, you would expect international box office numbers to be much bigger than the domestic box office. That didn't happen in this case. Luis Fernando says it's done. Superman beats its $320.9 million. Oppenheimer's $330.1 million. Batman v Superman's $330.4 million. Forrest Gump's $330.5 million runs. Highest grossing film of all time and biggest in history, feeding Supes at U.S. box office. Super $7.8 million on 8th biggest fifth third day weekend in DC history. See below. Solid Legs, just a 43.1 drop from the last week. Again, it's performing reasonably well. at the domestic box office. It's not the best everything like this guy is saying. It's there. I mean, it's way behind several DC movies from Wonder Woman to Aquaman, the Batman movies, Joker. So it's behind all those movies, but it's not doing bad at all. It's doing good domestically. Whether this is induced by the studio or not, the fact is it's doing well, right? That's not the problem. That's never been the problem. Problem is the compensation so that it would have an overall worldwide box office gross that does well. I don't care how well it does you in the US. If it's not doing well internationally and it's not being able to balance out what it's doing in the US, it doesn't matter. So Stuntman Mike, who wasn't saying much of anything concerning the Superman movie, he said this guy is posting every day like Superman makes $2 million. That's the biggest Monday for a DC movie in its 10th week here, where a storm happened in Florida during a day when the New York Yankees played in the afternoon game. This is huge news. Box office guru starts to blame week 5 digital release for Superman's flop. Forgets movie already died in week 1. Carlos Digital, take me back. Yep. Zack Snyder's Justice League. I saw there was some other movie that actually patented their big baddie after Steppenwolf's design. Empire of Lies says, fuck you, fuck Israel, and fuck any scum that supports the murderous, lying, sadistic Zionist entity. And he's talking to National Post, which the author deleted the post. See, you can fool the people some of the time, but you ain't gonna fool the people all the time. And what's happening now is, again, the masses. See, you have to understand what you're doing when you're a service provider. You're serving the masses. But if you feel that you are greater than them, not understanding you're part of the masses, you happen to be an influential part of the masses. But if you get exposed for what your real intentions are and how narcissistic you really are, the masses will abandon you. And that's all that the moral of the story is for this whole thing. The moral of the story is that once exposed how evil and wicked your intentions are, though you are in positions of power, your power gets stripped from you just by people no longer believing you. That's how you lose power. People just look at you like a waste of time. They don't have to overthrow you. They just have to forget about you and your systems and implement their own systems and their own way of doing things. And if you attack them, then they will retaliate. It's that simple. And people will unite over things that they are not pleased with, more than they unite over things that they're pleased with. That's the strange thing about life. You want to force the public to have a revolution? Keep on antagonizing them. Keep on oppressing them. Keep on trying to quiet them. The human nature is to rebel against, because human nature says, I am free to do whatever I want because I have become an adult, not a child anymore. Yes, there are consequences to different things. If I break the law, well, of course, I get punished. But when I know I'm doing something legal, I know it's doing something within my rights, and you're telling me I can't do those things, and the law doesn't back you, well, one of us has to go. It ain't gonna be me. You know what I'm saying? And that's how people will just replace you. They just replace you. Right? Because they're not going to tolerate, people are not going to tolerate suffering forever. This is why. in Palestine with Hamas, you have what you have. Ultra biased Snyder fan says, well, Willie, Dark Detective Forces, if it does less than Man of Steel, you delete your account too. That's Busky Akuma. Okay, easy. You can delete your account if it makes even $1 more, said Dark Gun Control. Well, Willie, Busky Akuma is the one. Anthony Albanese says, a statement on the recognition of the state of Palestine. That's all well and good. France, UK, now Australia join 147 nations already recognizing Palestine. This has become unstoppable. Now, you can recognize Palestine how much you want. The PLA, the Palestinian Liberation Association, they sell out their own Palestinian people. They kill out their own Palestinian people. They allow Israel to go railroad them. You see what's happening in the West Bank. So making Palestine a state sounds good, but the only people looking out for the people are Hamas. They're more genuine and other groups. So it sounds good in theory, but in practice, Israel still will infiltrate and try and control. Nick says, can you imagine any director going online to convince people why his movie didn't flop? Hashtag gun control. Yes, my brother. Honestly, never seen this much coke before. Louis Fernando, it's done. It's the biggest 50th 3-day weekend in DC's history. Oh, gosh. My brother Koj says, after the world witness the truth daily, how long will these false claims continue? How long will Israel continue the propaganda? As long as the U.S. and some other countries continue to support Israel, illegal occupation and apartheid regime, civilians will continue to be murdered. Not only that, we will continue to resist. We will continue to show our outrage and our distrust and our hate for what is happening, as we should as human beings. Latest propaganda move is to advertise to the world that journalists murdered by Israel are Hamas operatives. You know, whether they're Hamas operatives or not, you're not supposed to kill journalists. You're not supposed to shoot and kill journalists. If they have no weapons in their hands, why are you shooting and killing them? And wouldn't you be better off capturing them and then interrogating them to find out where Hamas is? I mean, I think that would make more sense. But the fact that they're killing them in their own country shows me that these people are murderers, and all they want to do is murder. They don't care if they're Israeli or Palestinian. They just want to murder, which is why, at present, the recruitment for Israelis into this very, what's the word I'm looking for? Immoral slaughter of innocent people is on the decline, and they have to hire mercenaries from other places because the civilian, the military force that is necessary and the trauma that comes after that, the cost of doing this is the cost of people's souls. And people will not be able to wrestle and live with that. That's why the suicide rates are so high. This has already played out its course. They can't exterminate the Palestinians like they want to. They can't ethnically cleanse them either. They're still in the middle of this debacle that's happening. A lot of, you're going to meet some of these people that are suffering, and I'll mention them by name. But at the end of the day, what is happening is that this is a stinker. This is a stinker. The world right now, it's a stench, it's disgusting. It's the blood of Palestinians. It's the splattering of Palestinians left, right, and center. Not only that, they're the poorest people in the world, and you're attacking poor people. So anybody who's poor should be absolutely offended by this to start with. And then on top of that, not only are you oppressing these people and torturing them and killing them, putting them in concentration camps like Hitler, but now you're trying to justify that. You're trying to justify the extermination of them. So Not only is it intolerable, not only is it unacceptable, it is something that needs to be purged. And so I am not even in the least against anyone purging Israel off the map and then purging all the people who supported this genocide. I really am not. I've reached the point where I've seen children in pieces. You know how traumatic? It's traumatic to watch. Far less traumatic for the children themselves witnessing these things, which you have trauma for the rest of their lives. So then they just showed video of children incarcerated. I am talking about babies, 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds. They are in concentration camps and prisons. And you're hearing the children's voices. In fact, the head of NBC, one of the NBC anchors, she wanted to throw up when she covered it. And she said, I can't continue this. It's disgusting what they're doing. It is disgusting. It is anti-human. Some people even say these people aren't humans that are doing these atrocities. Why do you think somebody leaves combat? And believe you me, America has done this too, in Iraq and Iran and so on. They leave combat and they commit suicide. Why do you think they're committing suicide? Because the things they saw and the things they did, they can't forgive themselves. Because they thought they were good people. Judas, after he betrayed Christ, you know what he did? When he realized the blood money that was on his hands, he couldn't give it back to the Pharisees and Sadducees. You know what he did? He hung himself. And he hung himself so hard, his whole intestines poured out of him. All of these people realize they're Judases. They realize that. They thought they were doing something that was right and just, and they come to the reality that this ain't just, this ain't right, this is evil, and I'm a part of it. So they commit suicide. And then how America treats its veterans is disgusting. The people who did all that dirty work, all that evil, they come back traumatized into a society. They take up drugs, and you don't take care of them. You don't see them as principal. You don't increase funding to them. Instead of increasing funding for bombs and weapons, no, you increase funding to your veterans. You talk about the sanctity of the soldier, and then you forsake him like hyenas. Because most of the people who join the military do so they can get something in return: compensation, money, education, funding for free schooling. That's why they join the military, because most of the people who join the military are not wealthy people. So you prey on the sheep. And you try to say that the military is an honorable thing. What's honorable about killing people? And, of course, the military is someplace where you don't ever ask questions. You do as you're told. Think about what I'm saying. Think about what I'm saying. The perfect soldier obeys commands regardless, right? He must obey. He mustn't question anything. Does that sound like a democracy to you? See, I don't want to go there, but I'm going there today. There you go. Auto Free Palestine says this movie literally has a Zionist actor who supports see, there you go, supports the genocide of Gaza, and bro is not even from Israel. Huh? So here we have all these pro-Palestinian people saying, yeah, David Carr swears he's on Superman, when he actually has different feelings about your stance. He thinks you're from Hamas. Yeah. You're cheering on somebody who prefers to see you shut the hell up and get annihilated like Hamas. Yeah. Yep. How you feel about that? Still supporting the movie? Senator Chris Van Hollen. Very interesting senator. Trump's raw authoritarian power grab in D.C. is part of a growing national crisis. He's playing dictator in our nation's capital as a dress rehearsal as he pushes democracy to the brink. This assault on freedom is exactly why we fought for D.C. statehood, to give D.C. control of its National Guard. And by the way, Trump couldn't care less about safety in D.C. or the people of D.C. If he did, he wouldn't have blocked D.C. from spending $1 billion of its own money to fund its own police department, schools, and more. That's flatly about testing the limits of his power. I could say a lot of things about a lot of things, but I won't. That's not what this is about. But just remember, Chris Van Hollen isn't saying anything wrong. It's just that Chris Van Hollen's only waking up now to the obvious truth. So Trump is blunt. That's one thing about him. He's blunt, and he makes everything open, so you know exactly what's happening. Not so under the Democrats and Joe Biden. Joe Biden did everything that Trump is doing now, Joe Biden did. And Trump is just continuing what Joe Biden did. There's nothing different about them. Joe Biden just has finesse. The Democrats have more finesse. They have silky tongues. It's like my country. We have NM and we have UNC. But effectively, they both do the same shit. They carry out the basic policy of the United States of America here in Trinidad. They serve Exxon, Shell, BP Amoco. These are the big companies that they have to bow down to. And the CIA makes sure that's possible. We also have increased homelessness and joblessness in my country. They'll blame it on racism and different politicians. The truth is, neither politicians have the will or testicular fortitude to nationalize these companies and to send these companies from America packing back to where they come from. That's the truth. And you can bullshit me as much as you want. That's the truth. We also denationalized a lot of our industries, privatizing them instead, saying that, the government can't maintain these industries. They're too expensive. Yeah, that's what we've been doing for the last fucking 50 years. Destroying our own propensity to maintain and sustain ourselves. And importing more and more foreign goods. Ultra biased Snyder fan says, notice how they make headlines about domestic box office because it's a narrative war and they're in service of. When the global box office run will conclude, they won't make headlines about Man of Steel remaining the highest grossing Superman movie globally. Exposed. Well, it's not going to be the highest grossing Superman movie globally. because you have to cater for inflation. And Superman 1978 is the highest grossing Superman movie globally. And that's just what that is. But, God damn it, BVS and Man of Steel, they ain't that far behind. All right? Now, if you want to argue that Man of Steel is the best Superman movie you've ever seen, you could argue that point. There are cases to that, and that's an opinion, and it's based on your taste and so on. So you could say that. But to say that Man of Steel is the highest grossing Superman solo movie of all time, that's not true. What you could say, though, is that Man of Steel is the highest grossing Superman origin film of all time. You would not be wrong about that. Because we've never had a Superman origin film, right? Kind of did with Superman 1978, but not really. Man of Steel was about how Superman came to be. This is what makes it so fantastic. Laura Geek says, I find fascinating how a pair of trunks makes some people forget everything they once criticized. Yup. They said, Zack Snyder Superman is evil Superman. And then, ladies and gentlemen, voila. Ain't that something? You look like, don't he look like Homelander? I'm just saying. They want to say this one inspired Homelander, but he looked like Homelander too. He's got glowing eyes. What do you expect? That doesn't make him evil. They ain't saying that now about Gun Superman. The only message, John Cusack, who's an actor, he's a Jew. He said, the only message I have for the world is we are not allowed to kill innocent people. We are not allowed to be complicit in murder. We're not allowed to be silent while preparations for mass murder proceed in our name with our money secretly. It's terrible for me to live in a time where I have nothing to say to human beings except stop killing. There are other beautiful things that I would love to be saying to people. There are other projects I would be very helpful at. I can't do them. I cannot, because everything is endangered. Everything is up for grabs. Ours is a kind of primitive situation, even though we would call ourselves sophisticated. Thank you very much, sir. Our plight is very primitive from a Christian point of view. We are back where we started. Thou shalt not kill. We are not allowed to kill. Everything today comes down to that. Everything. Particularly innocent people, John Cusack, may I say. Shout out to John Cusack for fighting. I don't agree with him on certain things, but most of the things concerning Palestine, I do agree with him. The Israeli genocidal forces just murdered Ansal al-Sharif, one of the best-known journalists in Gaza. For weeks, he had been pleading for help and telling the world that Israel is planning to assassinate him. Now they did. Israel is a terrorist state. Yes, I saw the pictures. I saw how they killed him. A sad morning for Gaza after losing its voice of truth and its eyes. Abdullah Omar, shout out to you, brother. I just really wish I could help. This is my way of helping. I am not going to be silent about this. So many journalists killed, just doing their job for Al Jazeera. Covering the atrocities in Gaza and Israel not wanting anyone to cover it. But I'm going to tell you this, people of Gaza, you keep on covering all the atrocities. You keep on getting that connection to the rest of the world. Yeah, they kill some journalists, but you can be a journalist. Each and every one of you can be a journalist. If you got your little phone and you got some electricity, you know what to do. Jarrett McDonald said, I recently watched the Ultimate Edition of Batman v Superman. Definitely better than the theatrical version. Say what you want. It's definitely a well-made movie. Oh, yeah. No doubt about that. The Mount Rushmore of comic book movie directors. We got Christopher Nolan, Zack Snyder, Ryan Coogler, and I can't remember why I can't remember this man's name. He just recently made a movie, actually. I just can't remember his name right now. What happened to beating Man of Steel? What happened to the billion? Superman. God bless everyone. Today's a great day. Man of Steel, Henry Cavill, release the Snyderverse. I think you mean restore the Snyderverse, but whatever. Okay, I pretty much covered this, but I'm going to say it again. James Gunn's Superman lost about half the audience of Zack Snyder's films. Is that crazy or what? Cosmic Book News. Israeli army releases the video claiming that they dropped off some fuel at Al-Shifa Hospital last night. The same hospital that they claim is a Hamas stronghold, which begs the question, how can they so calmly approach a Hamas stronghold? Make it make sense. Shout out to Muhammad, by the way. Man of Steel remains the highest grossing Superman movie. No, it's not. BVS is higher grossing and also is Superman 1978. And with that, we can officially say that WB's dysgenic box office test tube baby experiments both failed at the job they were originally conceived for, making more money than their previous counterparts. Yes, this is true. All these flops just because they refused to give people what they wanted. Thank you very much, sir. Well said, Ethan. I like that he has a monkey there. So we had Justice League, then Birds of Prey, Wonder Woman, Suicide Squad, Black Adam, Shazam, The Flash, Blue Beetle, Aquaman, Peacemaker, Batgirl, and now Superman. All friggin' flops or tax write-offs. Sad, sad, sad. Bad choices, man. Ethan's 100% correct, though. Okay, Mr. West Ashley also saying that. Constantine says, I literally can't laugh out loud enough. The Moonlight Warrior said, there's zero chance Superman goes to streaming after 30 to 45 days. Sid says, very difficult to do 3.2x multiplier in 2025 when it will stream 30 to 45 days, especially for the comic book movies. And he was wrong. And Constantine is laughing about that. Abdullah Omar. This is Abdullah Omar. And I really hope this brother makes it out of this horrible ordeal. Boy, will he have a story to tell. But if not, God bless him. They all abandoned this account because I post about Gaza. And only the loyal ones remain here. Thank you from the heart. Bro, I wish I could give you a hug and save you. But God's peace and protection to you, brother, and your family. Release the Snyder Cut says, number of days between Man of Steel theatrical release and Blu-ray release, 151 days. Number of days between Batman v Superman theatrical release and Blu-ray release, 116 days. Number of days between Superman theatrical release and Blu-ray release, 35 days. And I have a little bit of information to give you on that. Oh, there it is. No one was right. Snyder got that influence, undisputed GOAT. There it is. There it is. This is what I was talking about. Entertainment Biz says still the best Superman movie ever made and also the highest grossing Superman movie ever made. James Gunn's Superman is officially a worldwide box office flop with losses over $280 million for Warner Bros. Discovery and DC Studios. Man of Steel will keep the title of the highest grossing Superman movie ever. No, it won't. It never had. But it does beat back Superman. So Deadline says Superman 2025 profit all figures in millions. The domestic box office was 331. The international 247. It's a little higher now for that. I think it's 249 and 333 or something like that. Worldwide box office is not 579 anymore. It's 584 or somewhere thereabouts. Okay, the revenues. Theatrical, 264.8 million. That's the total revenue. Expenses. Production costs $225, prints and ads $200, residuals and other distribution expenses $50, $50 million that is. Interest and overhead $40 million, participations $30 million. Total expenses $545 million. Studio net is a loss of $280.2 million. Now I don't know if this is actually from Deadline or he configured this. I'm not sure how he got the revenue to be 264. I think it's a little higher than that. I think it's in the 400s right now. But anyway, 400 millions that is. But anyway, that's what it is, you know. That's what he's got. No billion, no 670 million, no 600 million, early digital. 575 million is another successful Superman movie that had a budget of 225 million, not including 150 million marketing, or maybe even more, and had been promoted for 2 straight years with blogs of small things every day. Superman is a flop, and no amount of paid media and journalists can manipulate those facts. This is true. Y'all do understand that 670 million is greater than 580 million, right? Nobody's using inflation as an argument because we don't have to. Hot controversial take. As much as I grew up with Bay's Optimus Prime, Snyderverse Superman was better and interesting, more interesting character than Bayverse Optimus Prime. Okay. Zack Snyder accused of ruining DC by making movies people actually paid to see. Leonidas, or show them this picture and realize he should not. When you don't have a shit costume designer, that changes things dramatically. So they're saying that this is what Corn Sweat would have looked like without the trunks. That doesn't look too good either. Oh, this looks great. I'm not gonna lie. James Gunn has announced the Superman saga. He has written the treatment for the next film in the series of hopes and hopes to begin filming soon. I think I saw him in an interview saying that. I like how he just chucked his original DCU slate and doing random BS now out of desperation. Welcome back, Walter Hamada. Maybe flopping at the box office is the new punk rock. Superman clone Snyder, written already, starts filming soon. All sorts of talk other than the fact that Superman flopped and hit digital on the 35th. Doubling down until it burns down. As Damien Anton Vincent would say, everything must burn. The mystery of Superman's marketing budget. In June, the Hollywood Reporter claimed summer blockbusters usually spend 150 million on marketing, but WB could spend 200 million because it is a universe launch. On July, after the opening weekend, Variety claimed that Warner Brothers underspent on marketing, only 100 million. And there's the evidence to support that. So, contradicting trades. Of course, the Hollywood Reporter usually is very solid. You can't pull the wool over the eyes of Zack Snyder fans. We study this shit like it's a PhD, and we have the best memories. There's absolutely no way WB spent a penny less than 200 million on marketing Superman. That's what I think as well. Okay, so Roshak Hassan says, what was this for then? DC Universe Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters. Superman Legacy, Waller, The Authority, those 2 things are not coming back. Booster Gold, that's not even coming. The Brave and the Bold, maybe. Lanterns, I think they're doing some sort of television series with that, not a movie. Supergirl is supposed to come out. Paradise Lost, that's not happening. Swamp Thing, I don't even know that's happening. I don't know why they even, I mean, you know, listen to this.
DC fans actually thought that Superman was going to make $1 billion. And now they're saying it never needed to make $1 billion. You are coping and seething. I also can't believe that someone actually thought that the Fantastic Four was going to make over 150 million domestically in its opening weekend. Who would be silly enough to believe that? Maybe even 150 mil if the word of mouth is really good. You can get off your knees and get my title.
All those good reviews and still can't even beat Man of Steel in the box office. Shaking my head. The ship jumping has begun. David Cornsmith has started following Matt Reeves. Israel Hamas War Misinformation Day 36. The official State of Israel account says the video is proof of Hamas gunmen inside of Gaza's Indonesian hospital immediately after a blast. In the higher resolution version of the clip, the object appears to be a baton, not a gun. Ben Affleck hated playing Batman. Ben Affleck. I really had a good time. I love doing the Batman movie. I love Batman v Superman. And I like my brief stints on The Flash that I did. And when I got to work with Viola Davis on Suicide Squad. The more they tweet, the clearer it becomes how little they know. Don't blame them, though. Blame the idiots that follow them. I make fun of a child's death because that annoys the Snyder cultists. Kindness is the new punk rock. And mind you, this falls directly in line with what how the Zionists feel about Palestinian children. So think of that same kind of mindset. The fact that somebody would violate and literally express vitriol and toxic sentiments about the suicidal death of Snyder's daughter, and imply all kinds of evil things on top of that, is the same mindset of the people who are torturing these children and then blaming Hamas for them torturing the children, for them sniping children and killing children in the head and blowing them up, and blaming Hamas for their actions. Just mind you, you see the parallels, right? It's the same evil mindset. So here we are, as Snyder fans, called toxic, yet the real toxicity is in the people who are throwing the blame at us. They're projecting their toxicity, their evil mind onto us. And I just want you to understand that. Okay, let's talk about Hamas. Here we go.
Genocide, even that genocide. Punish the Christians for Islamic terror. Punish the Christians for Islamic terror. Because I don't think it's Islamic terror that's taking place in the first place. I think we have to disabuse ourselves of that notion that this is a battle between Muslim and Jew. Or that, constantly you heard after the October event was that Hamas, Hamas, Hamas. Even to this day we hear it's Hamas, yes. Hamas, Hamas. What is Hamas? Hamas are people who have had their homes taken from them, who, if they live in Gaza, have not basically been in an open-air prison for certainly the last 20 years going on. Even when the Israelis withdrew from Gaza, they didn't leave open borders. There was no freedom for people in Gaza to develop their economy. If I know people who wanted to try to go to school in America and couldn't get out of Gaza, had a Fulbright scholarship and weren't able to leave. You mean couldn't get out? Israel didn't give them permission. So what kind of freedom is that? If you live in Gaza. They couldn't even fly out? No. And their airport had been bombed in 2000 and early on. 2000, there was an airport built soon after the Oslo Accords. But Israel has intervened many times in Gaza and little by little destroyed. When I first went there in 2002, after the Second Intifada started, I remember saying to my mother back home, this is genocide, even that genocide by Chinese water torture. But now we're seeing genocide on steroids.
I mean, the truth's out there now. Knacker said, no surprise, from 2021, Henry Cavill Superman restored the Snyderverse. You guys remember this? It was revealed that the Snyder Cut, aka Zack Snyder Justice League, has crossed over 250 million views in Migo Video in China. Migo Video is a Chinese streaming platform, one of the country's biggest and most popular. The Snyder Cut was made available on Migo just 5 days ago. It's already beaten Avengers Endgame numbers on the platform. That's utterly insane. And it goes to show how big the appetite for Zack Snyder Justice League was over in China. I'll show you something else. You know that the figure ended up being 500 million, right? It was past 500 million views, which is the biggest set of views for any kind of Western comic book movie. Period. Okay? 500 million views. Convert that into dollars, please. That's $1 billion movie. That's $1 billion movie. And I think Migu, it was like $2, I think, something like that. Not US, it's Chinese. So I think it translates into about maybe $1 something. It doesn't matter. If that movie made $500 million in China, that's fucking phenomenal, man. It just has to make 500 million more all over the rest of the world, and it fucking destroys everything. That's why they didn't want to put Zack Snyder's Justice League. They said it was a 4-hour movie. We can't put 4-hour movie in. Motherfucker, that would kill in the cinema. It would kill. It would kill in IMAX. It would murder the place. And that's why they don't want to put it out. To this day, this movie is now how old? It's almost 4 years old since it's been released. And they won't put that thing in the cinemas. And I'm telling you, Zack Snyder's Justice League, you start off first with Man of Steel, then BVS, Wonder Woman, and then Zack Snyder's Justice League. You do it in that order. I guarantee you, $1 billion. $1 billion. Yeah, people seen the movies already. So it's going to be a re-release of Man of Steel, a release of Batman v Superman Ultimate Edition that's never seen theaters on a global scale. Wonder Woman, which is everybody's favorite, so they will go and see that again. And Zack Snyder's Justice League, which will probably make the majority of the money anyway. I guarantee you do those 4, like Damon Anthony Vincent said, those 4 films, don't need to add anything to them, but if you want to, you could bring back Patty Jenkins, because these movies are going to take a span of maybe about a couple of months they'll be viewing. But you're doing them back to back to back to back to back. You can do them solely in the US, or you can do them globally. It's like, again, you're a retard not to do the Harry Potter series and release them into globally, or re-release of those movies globally into cinemas. You'd be a retard not to put Watchmen back out there, the director's cut into. You got director's cuts that are sitting down there, not going into cinemas. People are ready to watch Watchmen. Avatar, you should put Avatar first, and then Avatar 2, and then Avatar 3 in the cinemas. Don't just put Avatar 3 in the cinema. Put the precursors first. Studios are stupid. They don't have foresight. They don't have vision. When people can see something in context, it adds more to the new movie. And no, we don't want to see it on some fucking small screen. Biggest screen possible. All the sound effects, popcorn, that. People spend their money to see that. You want to put the Dark Knight trilogies into cinemas, but you won't put Zack Snyder's Justice League into cinemas. Even if it's a trilogy, you start off with Man of Steel, then BVS, then Zack Snyder's Justice League. Fine. I would put Wonder Woman in there to get Patty Jenkins to get the old files and sneak in that link to Zack Snyder's Justice League that should have been done. I would hire Patty to do that. Put a little bit of more money into it. Then you put Zack Snyder's Justice League in there, and you have a little surprise. Maybe the Green Lantern for the ending instead. The Green Lantern and Martian Manhunter and Kilowog. Spice it up a little bit, so it's a little different. And you have Joker saying the other part. We live in a society where honor is a distant memory. You have that instead of the other thing. So that's more intriguing to me. Yeah. $1 billion, easy. $1 billion. And again, you want to do a Marvel crossover with DC, you go through Deadpool. I'll tell you why Deadpool works. Deadpool is a fan requested movie. The fans wanted this for years. Zack Snyder's Justice League and Restore the Snyderverse is a fan igniting. The general audience came along, but it's really from the fans. that requested that this continue. They started it. You take those two fan requested things and you put them together, you're going to make money. Period. Period. And so the Snyderverse can work. And again, if Warner Brothers still wants to go down the way of James Gunn, nobody's stopping you. But at least you make your money back. So if James Gunn's movies flop, you have a security net in Zack Snyder's Justice League, which made you billions of dollars. That's only common sense. You know, I was listening to, what's her name? But of course, the fans are going to ask for more of Zack Snyder's Justice League. They may not ask for James Gunn stuff. But if you're an ego-tripped, corrupt, disgusting executive, then you're going to deny the fans what they ask for. But if you are somebody who understands that fans are what drive these comic book movies, and you turn off the fans, the general public feeds off of fan enthusiasm. They just do. You understand? So if you wanted to see movies crack $1 billion time and time again, you listen to the fans. No, don't listen to the minority of shills who work for the studio, or they have an issue, but they're not the majority of people. Because this is the result you'll get. Right? You can tell when people are not a majority. You don't see them saying, restore the Batgirl film, release the Batgirl. There's no movement. That movement came and it fizzled off. Restore the Snyder movement has been going now strong for 4 years. And it's not going to fade anytime soon. And all the other hashtags pale in comparison to restore the Snyderverse. You can say sell Snyderverse to Netflix. You can say sell Snyderverse to Power. You can say whatever the fuck you want. But it is never going to come close to restore the Snyderverse. It's just what it is. And you could try to quiet us. You will fail. Because this is a movement that is not dependent on any one particular person. If I stop tomorrow talking about this stuff, somebody else will fill my shoes. This has nothing to do with me. This has to do with us. This has to do with DC fans. This has to do with a certain DC audience that wants a certain kind of movie. And they just so happen to have great sway and great influence. And it has nothing to do with whether I continue this or not. I've seen so many channels blossom and do well here. From 4KO to Aaron Fisher to Tyron Magnus. Some of them are deeper Snyder fans than I am. Some of them are not. But the point at the end of the day is this. You cannot stop this thing. This is inevitable. Restore the Snyderverse is inevitable. No matter what people do, or what people say, we come back to it. People's desire to see the Snyderverse back. And why? It's very simple. The story isn't finished. That's all to it. And no, we will not allow any studio, not just Warner Brothers, any studio, to stop us from seeing the completion of the story. And because we have a certain degree of purchasing power, we will wield it so that we get what we want. Why is that a problem? I don't know. Why is the studio bucking against us? We don't know. But we don't care. Because guess what? We're here for the long haul. And we'll be here forever saying the same thing if needs be. Until we die. Because guess what? Studios and executives, they come and go like revolving doors in Warner Brothers. And if we know the history of Warner Brothers, they give in. They'll fight. Then they'll give in eventually because guess what? They have a shelf life. Executives have a shelf life. They come and go like. They come and go. You can't fire me as a fan. You're not paying me to do this. I pay you. And if the shareholders are dissatisfied with how you're going, they're going to replace you. You'll be replaced. And we'll still be here saying restore the Snyderverse. So it really doesn't matter what you do. It's better if you listen to us and what we want and what we ask for and what we're interested in. Because we have social media now. Where a dialogue can be happening between a studio and fans of certain characters. But when you choose to go your own way and create your own narrative and have your own dialogue and ignore what we said and what we request or demonize us for it, well, guess what? You lose. You cannot go up against customers and think you'll get sales after you demonize them. You cannot go up against customers and try to make them feel that their requests are unreasonable all the time and expect them to go buy your Guptiga that they're not interested in. That's the moral of the story. Shout out to Knackered. Raphael Sai says, the W watched Superman's box office go from 2 million in one day to 900K and just pulled the plug. They're like, nah, we know this ain't hitting Man of Steel box office. Just give up. Shout out to Muhammad Jawad. He's taking care of his daughter. At least they got some very precious food right there. I don't know if he has rank and pull or what. This dog is skinny, though. Muhammad Jawad. Baku Movie says, breaking news. James Gunn DCU Phase 1 name will be changed to from God and Monsters to Flops and Bombs. Oh, God. Until Zack Snyder does better. It's the best. Restore the Snyderverse. Yeah, Zack Snyder Justice League was crazy. You know what I mean? Zack Snyder Justice League was crazy. The Ayn Rajab Foundation has identified Israeli Air Force Commander Tomar Bar responsible for the murder of 5 Palestinian journalists. So this is very good. Very good. Ryan Zobiani, shout out to you, brother. The largest downgrade in comic book history. He's exaggerating a bit, but yeah, this David Cornsweat in costume as Superman without trunks did not look good. Didn't look good one bit. It really didn't look good. When Zack Snyder and Henry Cavill disagreed about Superman's physiology, they would both do push-ups until someone gave in. Oh, okay, shout out to Miss Rachel. Here we go.
That have been killed. I want to say that I'm so relieved that people are starting to talk about the starvation of this population, and I just want to honor the 18,000 children that have been killed because it should have been so much it should have been like these children mattered, and they're not just numbers. They're 18,000 precious children, and they were everyone's universe, as a Jewish text says. So they were somebody's whole world and somebody's whole universe. And I just want to say to the kids, hi, I'm so proud of you. You have great ideas and a brilliant mind and a wonderful heart, and you're so kind, and you're welcome, and I adore you. I want to say I'm so relieved that people
say there's terrorists in a school. Do we bomb our children? Do we bomb the kids? How many innocent lives? About 300. How many bad guys? Just 6 of them. Bomb it all! Well, October 7th. Hey, what about the hospitals? There's 3 or 4 bad guys in there. Bomb it all! What kind of sick mentality is that? If my neighbor does horrific things in my home, do I get to massacre my entire neighborhood and then decide, you know what? Now I'm going to go to Bonita Springs, and then I'm going to go to Georgia, and then I'm going to convince America that we should fight another country and take that leader out because I said they're bad. Makes you wonder who's running our country.
When you see white people going cuckoo, you know it's really bad. I mean, this dude, listen, the thing about it is, and I'm so happy this is happening because the poor and the needy among us are so much ignored. When I go out, oh God, there's so much people out there who, Jesus Christ, they're homeless. They're begging you for money to eat. It's ugly out there, okay? And that's just my country. And the amount of people that ignore them, and some of them, yes, they have mental problems, but they ignore them. They have drug addictions and all that kind of stuff. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I don't like that. So the fact that it's getting white people's attention, I specifically said white people for a reason, is a beautiful thing, but a tragic thing at the same time. It took over 100,000 people to die for it to finally start to register in people's minds, and the graphic nature of the deaths that we see and the callous, ruthless killing, the slaughter of these people. These people have no weapons. These people are just people. These children, it's just horrific. There's no other way to describe it. And I want to hurl. I'm going to vomit. It's so disgusting. Okay? So I'm glad that it is now, people are not just taking this in and playing it safe anymore. They're literally carrying on tirades and going nuts on social media. They should. It's very disturbing. And in fact, I think it's deliberate. I think it's deliberately disturbing, like the George Floyd incident that happened. And they're going after white people now, black people, everybody, because they don't like humanity. They don't like us. What part of it do you not understand? They don't like you. You know who first said that? Michael Jackson. They don't really care about us. He wasn't talking about black people. He was talking about you and me. People. Period. Humans. They hate humans. They hate humans. Get it through your thick skull. Understand what I'm saying. I want you to understand what I'm saying, because it's evil. It makes you shudder when you see them kill their own people. This isn't about Jews. This isn't about Israel. This is about some evil people who manage companies and think that the world is overpopulated. And they want it decreased radically. Your food has toxins in it. And you talk about getting organic stuff and organic stuff. Don't you understand? These companies don't care about you. They'll feed you poison. They don't care. They want you to die. There's too much of you. You've infected the earth as far as they're concerned. You're a plague. Do you understand me? It used to be how they would treat certain groups like Muslims and Christians back in the day. Even Jews. But now that mentality has gotten to every human being that these people think are overpopulating the world. They can replace us with machines now. We have AI and we have androids. And they intend to replace most of the population who will not conform. What you saw in sci-fi films are becoming reality. And some of you are still living comfortably and happily, not understanding that that's going to change radically. We can hold it back for a while, but eventually it's going to happen. So if you're waking up now, I hope you wake up completely, understand the situation, and take actions to stop it. Casey says, really funny how Gunn's magnum opus scene in Superman Legacy is Superman crying about how much words online hurt his feelings, while the WB fan base continues to gleefully harass people. Talk about missing the message. Powerful, brother. Powerful. James Gunn demonstrates expertise with $200 million loss in Superman's debut. Yep, this is true. Remember our real, true DC fans who cherish the characters so much, unlike everyone else except Gunn, used to throw at us economics and accounting to show how BBS, having only made over 100 million, was an absolute failure? We did the same for Superman, and it shows over 200 million. To math! Idea of soldiers. We were ordered to shoot children. What kind of human being listens to orders to shoot a child? Barbaric soldiers. They do what they are instructed to do.
It didn't have to be this way. When you start to see the Israeli military shooting unarmed people, including children, does anyone talk about this at night? Like, I can't believe what we're watching. Yes, and in fact, this contractor, he's walking next to me, and he says clearly, it's in the conversation of the video, it shouldn't be this way. We shouldn't be doing this. It didn't have to be this way. Were there officers aware of the fact that they were shooting kids? They were all aware. A lot of the IDF that are there that are serving are coming out and saying, like, yes, we were ordered to shoot the children. We were ordered to shoot by their officers. By their officers, by their units. Have you ever, you had 12 deployments, so have you ever seen anything like that anywhere else? I have never experienced, witnessed, been a part of anything that was that uncontrolled, undisciplined, barbaric. When you... I told you, Steppenwolf would fail. Yes, you did. My master, now that the mother boxes have been destroyed, how will you retrieve your great prize? Anti-life is found, Assad, and we will stop at nothing to possess it. Ready the Armada. We will use the old ways.
I knew it. I knew it was gonna come back. Something like that's not random. Martha.
Why did you say that name? Martha, why did you say that name?
Stop! Please, stop!
Why did you say that name?
It's his mother's name. It's his mother's name. Oh my gosh. So good. So good. Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes, 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 yes. And now they come together with Wonder Woman to be Lex Luthor. Oh, and to save Martha. OMG. And then Bruce gets a second chance to save Mama Martha. Oh my gosh, this is so beautiful.
She's losing time.
The scout ship seems to be drawing power from the city. It's gotta be Lex.
It's just that ship. I'll find her. You promise Martha won't die tonight.
Wow. Oh.
No. No, Clark, you can't.
This is my world.
No, Clark, don't.
You are my world.
No.
Wait, what? He's gonna like sacrifice himself or something? The bomb. Nice. Oh, come on. Oh. Yeah. Oh! No! No! Fuck. Oh my god. No, Lois, you're gonna freak out. Oh my god, what the hell? No, this is not what movie trying to do to me. God. Wait a minute. Hold on. I'm going back. I need to see that. Oh, my heart. I'm gonna cry tears of joy. Oh my god. I don't think you understand how much I truly needed that, like, that half second little thing they gave us there at the end with the dirt moving on his grave. I don't even know what I'm trying to say, casket. Because that just changed everything for me. I was about to leave this movie so mad, so upset. I mean, of course, there was like a part of me that was thinking, like, there's no way that they can even actually do this. Like, there's more of him, right? Like, but, and the Moon movie is coming out with, could be a totally different, adaptation, so it doesn't necessarily mean, like, that he can't die in this, like, so I really thought they were committing to it. I mean, they literally just gave that to you at the very end. Like, that's not even half a second. It was just, like, a little bit of dirt coming off the casket, but that just changed everything for me. Like, I really did love this movie. Like, the whole thing was so good. The sound, the acting, the coloring, the shots. like everything's just like commitment to this. Like, I'm gonna get into like my actual thoughts here in a second, but I love this movie so much.
It's okay. I'm a friend of your son's.
I figured. The cape?
All right, enough of that. So, yeah, Superman. In Sydney, Australia, man, they got a whole set of stuff going on here. I'll show you guys what's up. Look how much people. They came out to stand out for Palestine. I mean, people are in their forces all around the world. If you don't even understand.
Some new news.
Yeah,
this has just come out from the Associated Press.
Children in prison.
This is incredible. Have been sending babies and other young children. Hold on.
Yep. She can't even
Put
finish.
the graphic of this.
She can't even finish it. She can't even finish it. That's the tale.
It is
Fucked
an
up that
attack
is.
against Iran. It fans the flames to start a war with Iran, and it's coming out, But
Julian
it is not
Assad.
just an attack against us. It is an attack against Iran. It fans the flames to start a war with Iran, and it's coming out in November. It's being filmed now. Benedict Cumberbatch is playing me. This movie has British involvement, and people in Britain should be concerned about it. How does it open? Well, and this has not been previously disclosed before, the opening scene is in a military complex in Tehran. The camera comes in, closes up on a file, and it is a design for a nuclear bomb marked with nuclear symbols. There's notes and whispers all around, and they're in Farsi, they're in Persian. There's an older scientist speaking. A high-speed camera will measure the explosive charge we've designed to trigger the chain reaction. It is then revealed by the camera 4 scientists in white coats walking in a windowless corridor. The youngest, Simsana, remember that name, Simsana, writes on the file, the dimensions of the payload are consistent with a Shabab missile. Okay, that's the opening scene. Iran is working on an atomic weapon. The opening scene of a film about WikiLeaks. How does this have anything to do with us? Well, we'll come to it. The next scene concerning Iran is in Cairo, where that Iranian nuclear scientist is meeting a US CIA agent, Kate. Close up again on the handwritten diagram of a nuclear bomb, the same diagram as we saw in the opening. And Saman says, I copied it from memory. I copied it from memory. They're testing the explosive in the next 6 months. Now remember what Tom's national intelligence estimate found. Iran did not have a nuclear program. All 16 US intelligence agencies feeding into that report said that was the case with high confidence and has been reconfirmed every year since that point. The senior diplomat, who's also at the table with the CIA agent, says, shit, we thought they were at least 3 years away from a bomb. Another lie. Tom's report does not say that they're 3 years away from a nuclear bomb. So it's a lie upon a lie, a great big budget thing that's going to be pushed out in November. the Iranian nuclear scientist then says, if it works, they won't hesitate to sell the technology. And even if one of these things, if it works, they won't hesitate to sell the technology. And even if one of these things gets into the wrong hands, they'll sell it anyway. So that's the reality of where we're at. Not merely a war of intelligence agencies, but a war of corrupt media, corrupt culture. That war, we've got to understand, people who have appeared on this panel have been involved, sometimes with great sacrifice, at revealing the truth about important parts of the world, how the world is unfolding, how the world is shaping, the nature of institutions. They have revealed it heroically, in many cases, to the historical record, to our civilization as a whole, to you. You have to understand that where there's great powers at work, I don't mean shadow conspiracies, I mean enormous cultural powers, enormous industrial powers, the vast network of corporations that interact with government agencies around the world, selling them products, shipping their logistics from one place to another. The National Security Agency, for example, now has approximately 70% of its expenditure passed through Northrop Grumman, Lockheed Martin, etc. This produces a lobby that pushes in particular directions. How is it that such a lie got into a script about WikiLeaks? How is it that in the light of that national intelligence estimate, that anyone could think that it was tolerable, acceptable to foist that lie upon the public, that it would make it all the way through the Hollywood system, that distributors would pick it up? Because they perceive that that is where the power lies in the United States. They perceive that it's perfectly okay to slander an entire nation, that it's perfectly okay to beat the drums of war like that, because people in that system want the war. They want it.
If you don't cry watching this movie scene, you're just a bad person. Get him, Wonder Woman! Get him, Diana!
No, Clark, you can't.
This is my world.
No, Clark, don't.
You're my world. You are my world.
No.
It's back when he was actually, selling hope. He'd scream at his girlfriend, he'd shout at her. Dying for a world that hates him. That's hope. Trinity TV together. I still don't like what you did to Batman, Snyder. Batman was a little bit too mean, but Superman inspired him like he inspires all of us. Get him, Superman! That's heroism. Not screaming at your girlfriend now. Where's the dog? That's selflessness. That's a fucking hero. That's a hero. And people that disagree don't even own or read Superman comics.
She was my world. And you took her from me. If we believe there's even a 1% You convince him to help me. Oh, he has to die. If I wanted it, you'd be dead already. Fuck your sons.
I figured.
What in the hell is this? So apparently after only being in theaters for only a month, Superman is going to hit digital on August 15th. Wow. Superman is going to hit digital on August 15th. What happened? I thought that this movie was going to beat Man of Steel. We're in 2025. Shouldn't this Superman movie, this movie was so hyped to the fucking moon. Shouldn't this movie have beaten Man of Steel, BVS? Everybody was saying that this movie was going to hit $1 billion, but guess what? It didn't. Man of Steel made over $670 million. Superman 2025 couldn't even hit that. It's not even going to come close to that. Now that it's going to be released in digital, everybody's just going to stay home and probably watch this lame movie. And you have these James Gunn cultures already crying and complaining. It's hilarious. This person says James Gunn is going to hell for only letting Superman be in theaters for 35 days. I remember when movies were in the theater for 3 months, but guess what? It doesn't matter. It's done. It's not beating Man of Steel. It's not beating BVS. It's not beating anything in the Snyder universe. Say what you want about Zack Snyder, but his movies made money. Every single time James Gunn had made a DC project, it has failed and didn't make any money. Zack Snyder was literally hitting billions of dollars. His universe was hitting billions and billions of dollars. James Gunn can't even reach that. And it's hilarious because you have these James Gunn fans trying to find some reason, some excuse to say that James Gunn movie was successful, and it wasn't. They keep saying about the domestic box office. I swear, Superman 2025 is the only movie where I've seen people talk about the domestic box office so much, and it's insane. You James Gunn meat writers can go ahead and shut up because James Gunn's universe is a failed universe already, especially financially. At least the DCEU actually made money. I'm a punk rocker. Yes, I am.
I mean, these people are scum. Like a few months ago, I was saying, I don't care who jumps on the bandwagon. We just need all the voices because we want the killing to stop. And I still feel that way. How would a Palestinian West Bank or Gaza right now feel about me?
But it is not just an attack against that.
Me.
So I spent a good portion of time, about 2 hours and 23 minutes, 28 seconds, talking about this stuff. I'm going to stop. My passion for it is high. If you care about your human being, fellow human man, your passion's going to be high. But I just wanted to talk about Restore the Snyderverse. I felt like the Snyderverse had a message that it was trying to say about us as humanity, not just trying to be human or whatever the fuck James Gunn was trying to say, but literally, it was suggesting to us that we as humanity can work together. It was suggesting to us that when you're striving for high ideals and to be a symbol of something and to believe something in something, that it calls even for your life, that, as Rebel Moon said, you have to die for what you believe. And if you think it's noble, if you think it's moral, if you think it's ethical, nothing. You shouldn't be bought out by anything, not money, not influence, not fame, not power. And that's how I feel about it. So I hope that you guys had a very good day. My day wasn't as productive as I hoped for it to be, but I wanted to just share this video with you guys today. And for those of you who watched, God bless you. I wish you nothing but good things. And you guys have a good